This is the Siemens Comfortline Sleeper carriage, often regarded as the best night train carriage in all of Europe because of its large beds, incredibly spacious interior, as well as smooth ride. Only found in the fleets of ÖBB Nightjet and České dráhy, they use these sleeper carriages on their most prestigious routes, with a journey in one of them often costing well over 200 euros. Except there is this one night train route where a private cabin can go for as little as 80 euros. Join me on board České dráhy's bargain night train, where I'll show you what it's like to travel in these incredible carriages and how to book them. This is the EuroNight Slovakia from Prague to Eastern Slovakia. Good evening and welcome back to Prague main station, where once again we are off on another journey. If you're a regular viewer on the channel, you probably know this station quite well by now. It's a well-equipped train station with good connections to the metro and plenty of shops and restaurants. Should you not have a ticket already, you can find the ticket office on the lower level of the station. However, if you want to secure one of those cheap night train tickets, you'll have to book in advance, but more on that towards the end of the video. To the right of the České dráhy ticket office, you will find the Billa supermarket, a great place to get some snacks before your journey. Heading up the escalators, you'll find more food outlets as well as shops, but also the station's best feature: the beautiful Lego model of the entire station. And before we head through to our departure platform, make sure you arrive in enough time to make a little detour to the historic station building. Trust me, you don't want to miss this. Because if you just head straight through to the platforms, you'll probably pass under it without even noticing. Speaking of platforms, they handle a lot of different train traffic here in Prague. For instance, here is the international Alex service arriving from Munich over in Germany. And while I could watch trains all night long, let's head over to our platform and find our night train. And here we have our EuroNight service, which, in addition to going towards Eastern Slovakia, also has carriages for Warsaw. The train consists of a mix of both Czech and Slovak carriages, with a Slovak sleeper, Czech couchette, mix of Czech sleepers, and a mix of Slovak and Czech seated carriages. Hauling our train tonight will be this Siemens Vectron locomotive, delivered brand new to Slovak State Railways in 2019. It's capable of 200 km per hour, but we will be limited to 160 tonight. Right, let's get on board. The eagle-eyed among you might already have spotted that this is not a Siemens Comfortline Sleeper. We'll get to that in just a moment. This is instead a heavily overhauled Czech-built sleeper carriage. And while it doesn't get as much praise as the Comfortline carriages, it's still a perfectly acceptable way to travel. As I booked my ticket only a few days in advance, by that time the Comfortline carriages were already shown as fully booked, and I had been assigned in this cabin instead. But that didn't stop me from getting a room in the Comfortline Sleeper, which I'll tell you more about after our departure from Prague. Because just a few moments later, one of the attendants came around and offered me a room in the Comfortline carriage that seemingly had become available since I made my booking. I'm not sure if I was offered it because I was running around the train taking videos of absolutely everything, or if it was just for general operations or kindness of the attendant that night, but either way, thank you. And here we are in Europe's best night train carriage. Awaiting in my room was 2 bottles of water, as well as an information poster. Luggage can be placed on the shelves above. A welcome amenity kit is also provided, containing slippers, as well as some soap, handy for a trip to the shared bathroom and shower in the corridor. In the rooms without an en-suite bathroom, you will also find towels by the wash basin. We'll have a look at the cabin in greater detail tomorrow morning, but as it's getting late and we're speeding out of Prague, it's time to take a look at the route map. When there are no track works going on, EuroNight 443 is scheduled to leave Prague at 22:16, heading east through the Czech Republic to Bohumín. Here, the carriages for Warsaw are detached in the middle of the night, and the train continues through much of Slovakia in the early morning hours. Arrival in Kosice is scheduled at 8:12, where further carriages are detached before the train eventually continues all the way to Humene. This is scheduled to take 12 hours 34 minutes to cover the 800 kilometers, giving the train an average speed of 64 kilometers per hour. Due to major track works, the timetable and final destination of the service is often changed. Tonight, my train left Prague early at 9 p.m. and only continued as far as Banovce nad Ondavou, and I'll only be traveling as far as Trebišov. And about 40 minutes after leaving Prague, we make our first station stop in Kolin, a major railway junction served by 5 different railway lines. But as it's already dark outside and it's getting quite late, it's time to get ready for bed. So time to head to the bathroom and shower and get ready. Make sure to grab your keycard, as you will both need it to enter your room again as well as enter the bathroom. And it's great to also have the option to shower when you haven't forked out the extra money for one of the cabins with an en-suite shower. In here you'll find some soap, as well as a clean toilet. Of course, also a sink with working water. A button for the mirror light. But most importantly, here's the shower, which was both hot and offered good pressure. There's just something so refreshing about having a proper shower on a train. Someone did, however, forget to lock the bin cabinet, so this would randomly open up during the shower. Next to the shower, there's also this small folding seat that can be very handy when changing clothes. Overall, it's just amazing being able to freshen up, especially after a long day out, and now head to bed feeling clean and relaxed. Right, time to get some rest. The door can be locked from the inside using these 2 locks. And from my cozy compartment, it's time to say goodnight. I wake up after about 8 hours of mostly uninterrupted sleep to some beautiful morning scenery around 7 AM. I found the bed to be extremely comfortable. It's only a few centimeters bigger than your typical night train carriage bed, but it really makes a difference. And combined with just how smooth and quiet these carriages are, it really makes for a great night of sleep. The time is now 7:41 and we make our stop in Magensani on time. Here we see some of the smaller rail buses that are very common on many smaller branch lines in Slovakia. As our journey continues, it's time for a room tour, and I'll show you how to convert it into day mode in time for breakfast. Each room comes with a keycard as well as a few locks. Next to this you'll find the ladder, which can be very useful for reaching the top bunks. If you know your neighbors, there is an interconnecting door with locks on both sides. In front of this you'll find coat hooks to hang your clothes. Behind is where you'll find the wash basin hidden away like this. It will come ready with towels, as well as working water, a mirror light, as well as a socket for shavers. The beds can be turned up 90 degrees to the side, and there's 3 of them. There's a control panel by every bed with a reading light, a general light, as well as an alarm clock. Down here is where you'll find the 1 plug socket, as well as space for luggage storage. But there's even more of this above the corridor. Temperature and general light control you'll find in this console. In order to get a proper table, you will need to grab this part, fold it out and attach it to the interconnecting door. Flip up the bunk beds, like this. And start to pull out the seats, which I couldn't do with one hand. And just like that, the cabin is now in day mode and we are ready for breakfast. These are truly great night train carriages that do almost everything pretty flawlessly. The only thing I could really wish for is more electrical outlets, but that's being very nitpicky. And as we pass through this incredibly beautiful part of Slovakia, my complimentary breakfast was ready, consisting of some butter, liver pate, cream cheese, multi-juice and a chocolate wafer, as well as a hot drink, and of course also some bread rolls. By the way, am I the only one who thinks it's a bit of a missed opportunity not to have one of these 2 in the box? And while I eat my breakfast, I'll leave you guys with a scenery montage. And by now you're probably wondering how you can book and secure a spot in these carriages, but before we move on to that, we are now arriving in Kosice. Being the 2nd largest city in Slovakia, this is where most of the train's passengers will be getting off, and half of our sleeper carriages are detached. There is a scheduled stop of 50 minutes here to change locomotives and detach carriages, so feel free to go and stretch your legs. And if you really like trains, there is a lot going on here. I mean, not even modern metro signaling would allow trains running so close together. As the line to Humene is currently undergoing electrification works, our train won't be travelling the full route today. And this is also why we are having a diesel locomotive and 2 local seated carriages attached here. This is a Class 757 locomotive, capable of 100 km per hour. They have the nickname Goggles, which I don't think I need to explain. Right. Let's head on board the train again and get ready to go the final stretch. We will now be non-stop to Trebišov, my final destination. Right, so let's talk about how you can secure a seat in one of these carriages for about 80 euros. Bear with me, it will get slightly technical. First, you'll need to find the right carriage numbers, which you can use a website like Wagenweb for. As of making this video, we are looking for carriage 367 and 365. Keep this in mind, it'll be important later. Next, you want to head to the website either of the Czech or Slovak railways and put in the journey you want to make in the search bar and make the search and select your desired sleeper type. And here's the important bit. Check once you have placed the booking in the cart if you're in the right carriage. If not, then do a new search and repeat. As your previous seat will be blocked for 15 minutes, you can try again and again to get the right carriage. You can also use the seat map on the Czech Railways website to see which cabins remain available. As for cheap tickets, it's dynamic pricing, so the earlier you book and the less busy the train is, the higher chance of finding a €80 ticket is. There's usually plenty available if you're just booking more than a few days in advance. And if you don't want to go to Eastern Slovakia, you can also find these carriages for relatively inexpensive prices on the route to Warsaw, starting at about €100, but availability is much more limited. And after a good 12 hours or so, my journey is about to come to an end. I have really enjoyed my time with Czech and Night. The carriage is excellent, the staff friendly, the breakfast was good, and being able to get the best sleeper carriage in Europe for about €80 is great value. So as we arrive, do you also think these are the best sleeper carriages in Europe? Or perhaps you have another favorite? I could definitely see the VR double-decker ones up in Finland being a contender for the title. Thank you so much for joining me on this trip. If you want to see more videos like this, make sure you are subscribed to the channel as I try to post a new one every Sunday. You can also follow me over on Blue Sky at intercitysimon.com. I usually post live from my travels over there, so it's a great place to get a sneak peek at what videos might be coming to the channel in the future. Thanks for watching.